Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus and welcome to another video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So tonight we are going to be chatting with Shirley Lewis, and long-time viewers of my channel will know that we've chatted with Shirley before, a few years ago now, but Shirley is currently on tour as part of the George Michael Singers, and they're going to be hitting different venues in the UK from the 27th of March through till the 30th of April, and it's Shirley and Joe Garland and Jay Henry performing George's hits, but also it's more like an evening with, because they share stories about George and give that insight into George as an artist and just as a person that only they can give. Obviously, at these shows, you're going to get the genuine George Michael sound as well, because they were the real deal. They were the people that were singing behind George on albums, but also live. So, hello!
Darling,
Hi, Shirley. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, babe? I haven't seen you for ages.
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it?
It has been a while, yeah. It was
And
about a year ago I saw you
think
when
it
you
was,
came to Alfie's show.
yeah, maybe a year and a half now.
Yeah,
maybe, something
oh my
like that.
God.
So yeah,
And I've left to do better than that.
yeah, time flies. But yeah, you've been busy, haven't you?
I know. I'm actually like, we're doing kind of everything, like the kind of managing ourselves as well. It's
Right.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's tough. But you know what? The easy part is doing the show. So
Yeah.
I'm just like longing for Thursday, and all the, logistics are kind of out of the way, and, just getting from one show to the other. I mean, a tour is different to doing even one show. I thought one show was stressful enough, but
Yeah. When people realize that it's not a tribute thing, it's an actual thing. These are the
exactly.
actual people.
I know it's so hard to get that across because, a lot of this, obviously, most of the songs we've been like creatively working with George to make those songs and to make that sound, and like that George Michael sound, it is us. So do you know what I mean? So it's, but anyway, I think it's just really, I just think it's a matter of keep doing the shows, and when people come and they see it, then they'll get it, and then it will, hopefully just snowball from there.
Yeah.
Hopefully all the we've done all the sewing, so we just got to let it grow now.
It's getting the word out that this is going to be the actual sound. What I love about it as well is having the live band. That
We
so authentic.
We thought about doing it with track, and then we were like, do you know what? It's just like we're gonna have to have the musicians to come and play. It's more, George would hate it if there was not a band, So I think I mean, if we did a corporate show or something like that, we could probably do it to track. But if it's a live show, I think it just needs to be a live show. And it's partly our stories as well are like part of the show. I mean, they're actually a big part of the show. And I think that's kind of what sets it apart as well, because we kind of like set up each song. Like there's a story before, like how that came about. So, that's a little different as well. It's more like an evening with, I guess. That is what it is, more than just a show. Because, I mean, the music speaks for itself, doesn't it? You don't need to try and sell that. All the songs are amazing.
Yeah, and this is a song that's about this. It's like, we already know.
We know that, yeah. It's just like, but the kind of pre-run up, like, how what it was like to kind of put it together in the studio, how the sounds came about. So that's really more of, what it is. I think you've got to be a real kind of hardcore George Michael fan, and not just, some people just want to go to a show and just, they don't care who's singing it really. They're just out for a good time. And that's fine too. There are some of the tribute guys, they sound great, but it's not a George Michael sound, I think, so that's what we're trying to kind of put out there.
It's something that only you guys can do.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, can give that background information and let everybody know exactly how the cogs turned in the studio and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so. exactly, and that's the interesting part, isn't it? Really, about music, it's like it's how it came about. It's like we can all hear what the ultimate finished product is, but wow, how did who played that or So I think that that's the nice part. And we've got Steve Sidwell, who's George's MD, so
Mm,
he's so good.
yeah.
You should totally do. Oh, you're doing things about vocals mostly, aren't you?
Mm. At the moment,
Yeah,
yeah, I've got this whole
yeah.
authentic vocal thing that I
I
started
love
last
that.
month, and I'm still,
Love that.
yeah, still yet to kind of push it out there because I'm doing everything I do normally on YouTube and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of giving myself another big project as well as kind of what I normally do.
Keeping the project that you've got, that everybody is already attached to. But yeah, it's
Mm.
good to branch off and do other stuff as well, though.
Yeah, and I
But it's a
think
really
it's
great idea. I love
mm,
it. Like, because you're analyzing things anyway on your show, so it makes
yeah.
sense that that's like the next move.
Yeah, and I think it's important that real voices get out there a little bit more because especially
Yeah,
with TV performances and everything being post
yeah,
edited and pitch corrected and people then
yeah.
hear a real voice and they go, oh, why does that sound different to all the other stuff that I listen to? It's like, well, that's an actual voice, it hasn't been tuned.
Yeah, and there is the nice thing about it is the little imperfection that you
Mm,
do get with a real voice is the beauty of it, and
yeah.
that's where you get like the personality and stuff.
I did see on ITV that you actually on Instagram you said that you thought it was going to be pre-recorded, but then they told you that it's going to be live. And I mean, just as you know, as a performer and a singer, I mean, how do you deal with that? The other thing is that was that the same ITV show where the presenter suddenly said, "Oh, well, go on then, give us a song," or
Just not,
suddenly start singing? Were you pre-warned that she was going to ask you to sing something?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought because if you
But
weren't,
only when we got there. But only when we got there.
oh, okay,
So we didn't realize we went in to pre-record the interview,
yeah,
which was
yeah,
not going out on. We didn't assume was going out on Friday. So you well, it doesn't matter really. I mean,
mm,
to us, to be fair, I prefer live things.
mm,
I don't like questions beforehand. I don't like anyone prepping me for
yeah, yeah,
anything. But when we got there and we said, "Oh, great, so when we pre-record, when is it going out?" And she went, "No, it's going out tonight in 30 minutes." And we were like, "Huh? Oh, okay, great." So as she got all the info about the tour, blah blah blah, and she said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you okay to sing something?" And we were like, "Yeah,
mm,
cool." Like, but it was that like we weren't rehearsed to do it.
yeah,
But we were like, yeah, it's cool. And then we said, like, what should we do? And we said, well, let's do a bit of Amazing because it's easy and it's like the harmonies coming straight away. Otherwise, no one wants to hear us all singing in unison. It's like, well,
yeah,
anyone can do that.
yeah.
So we were like, and we only had 20 seconds. So then they said, we've only got 20 seconds. We were like, oh, for God's sake, what bit's got the harmony in? And we were like, oh, let's start there. So
Yeah,
we ended up starting on that, tell me, I
yeah,
guess the Cupid was in. That bit has the harmony on. So we
yeah,
went for that. Otherwise, there's a whole bunch of unison singing.
yeah, yeah,
But we were like, 20 seconds? That's not a lot of time.
yeah.
But yeah, she did say, but literally it was before we went on, and she said, "Are you okay to just sing something?" And we were like, "Yeah, sure, sure."
Mm. But that's the great thing about doing what you do and being the artist that you are, just being able to do something.
Yeah.
It is possible. When I was watching that, I thought, imagine if this were, should I say, a less accomplished group of singers.
I love that.
that
Let's just say,
Yeah,
not mentioning any
but
names.
just to be put on the spot, but not for a pre-recorded show, but live. If it's like, go on then, give us something, and
I
then
know.
yeah, I mean, I think it's commonly underestimated the level or how comfortable you have to be,
Yeah,
especially with other singers and harmonizing the relationship between yourself and Joe and Jay, and
yeah,
how you work off each other and with each other and
yeah.
how much the relationship plays a part in that.
Mm. Oh, yeah, massively. I mean, talking about like doing those, when we were thinking, oh, shit, like what part of the song? Oh, shit, I've said shit. Oh, no, I've said it twice.
It's all right, I'll
Um,
put a bleep in there or something.
Oh, there she goes again. Um, but we were, like I said, we were like, oh, wait a minute, if we sing that bit, there's no harmonies. So although it would have been nice, us singing, because we blend really well, we've all got like a similar timbre, so it's quite breathy but Jay's obviously Guy, so he's got a lot, even if we're singing the same note, his one still has more depth than ours. And then we were like, oh, no, 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 we need it so that it can split into three. But we automatically just go to those notes. So I'm normally in soprano, so I always hit the top. Joe's in the middle, Jay's on the bottom. So we don't even have to think about it. So someone said to us now, can you sing something? We would go into it and know our parts. So we don't have to rehearse, which is the real blessing. And we've just really come to, over this last year, we've really just gelled in terms of, it really is, we are not thinking about our notes anymore. It just comes so naturally to us. So but I think that's comes from being familiar with the people that you're working with, in terms not only harmonies but in terms of your volume, and you know who sings the loudest, whose voice sticks out the most. Like, I'm on top, so the top is always going to cut through. So I'm always aware I have to sing a little quieter. When you're doing something live like this ITV thing, that you're not mic'd up for, talking and singing. It's going to distort. So I mean, I could hear it when I listened to it back. I was like, oh my god, that's completely distorted, because they're not prepared for the volume of you singing. But like I say, it was just off the cuff, so it didn't matter that it came. It didn't sound terrible, but for me, I was like, oh, yikes, that's really like just distorting. It does my ears in. But I think that when the three of us sing together, there's definitely a certain sort of magic that I feel. And we, like I say, we all go into this, okay, I need to pull back a bit. Jay might need to sing a little softer in a point where his voice is lower there. We're very conscious of each other, is what I'm trying to say. And we're very supportive of each other as well. Like, if someone needs a little help, we'll fill in the gaps, and it just works. I mean, when we did the show in Shepherd's Bush, which was in December, I watched it back and I thought, oh, it was actually quite sweet, because none of us really wanted to take the spotlight, and I could see we're all backing vocals. We've been doing backing vocals for years, but we had a tendency to just like, oh, I don't want to be out here on my own. I want to stick with my mate, and because that's where I'm most comfortable. And it was really, it was sweet though, because no one wanted to shine more than the other, but we were there. If someone needed a little support, we just jump in, and we just automatically know when someone needs help, or a note is not coming out exactly right, someone else will jump in and help you. But it's lovely to have that support. And I think this is the genius of background vocals. When you're needed, and that is why it's such a brilliant creative process that we have working in this situation, is that there'll never be a time where it will ever sound bad, because that's our job, to support the artist. Now we are the artists. Do you know what I mean? So sorry, that was a real flipping long-winded answer.
No, but it's great, because I think previously in our chat a few years ago, however long it was, we talked about very briefly the art form of being a backing vocalist rather than a lead vocalist. And it very much speaks to what you're explaining there, that when you're singing with other singers, you're harmonizing and you're backing up another singer, you're constantly instinctively reacting every millisecond to what's going
That's
on.
it.
Whereas when you're a lead vocalist, it's just, well, I'm singing, and that's the thought. Whereas thinking about, I'm singing, but what are they doing? Oh, they're there. Let me come down a bit. Hang on, and this constant ebb and flow to being a group. But
totally. George always used to say that you guys totally have my back. He goes, oh, I might be a bit, I might need help on that song or that song. And we're like, just do your thing. If we hear you, we'll be in there. Don't worry. It's like it's a definite skill set, and not everybody's cut out to do it. And actually, being a lead singer is a whole different thing. We're very when you hear a lead singer and they're just, they're ad libbing and da 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 da, we don't really do that because we're so used to being uniform. Do that thing. Don't kind of go outside of that. So it works. This show works for us doing the lead lines because George also did that. Although he was the lead singer, he never deviated from his melodies. He was like, if something worked, he would never change it. He's not a Mariah Carey. He's not going to do something different every night. He's going to do the same thing every night. And that really helps us because as a background vocalist, you're used to doing the same part. You're not used to going off the cuff and just singing what the hell you like. So George's lead vocals lends itself to one of us doing those things. I get to sing father figure actually in this show.
Oh, wow.
I know. I'm like, who would have thought that I would be like getting to sing the lead line? I've only ever sung the BVs, so but it's great. I love singing it. It's so nice.
Yeah.
So nice. Not anywhere near as good as George Michael because no one can emulate that. But anyway, I do my best.
Well, if there's anyone that deserves to sing it, it has to be the other person on the actual song.
So. Yeah. I'm really excited about doing it. Actually, yeah.
I can imagine that he was such a perfectionist with getting everything just right, and as you say about getting the backing vocals exactly where they need to be, but him putting you guys together because he knows exactly what he wants. He goes, right, yes, you, yes, you, yes, you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a hand-picked thing. He's definitely, you're just saying about him being a producer. That's the thing. I don't think people really think about him as being a producer, but all of the songs you hear, whether there's a producer involved or not, trust me, nothing's gonna go out unless he's really, really happy with it. That's why I used to take years to make records because he would just procrastinate and go over and over and like, that's good. No, I'm going back. I'm doing it again. He was very, very particular. But, George did still, even though he had us, he still also did a lot of background vocals himself, even though, we weren't on every single song because sometimes he still just wanted his voice because I think he always wanted his voice, but he just then thought he needed a different color, I think, because otherwise it might have been a little Wham-esque because he did all the vocals in Wham. Yeah. So I think, when he first started, he was like looking for just a different color. And then as he went on, he was like, oh, I can change my own voice to sound a bit like that girl or that guy. So he didn't always need us. But it was, it's just an honor for us that he did use us throughout his career. And, just grateful to be still making memories, still feels like with him. Although he's not there, but we're talking about him a lot. So it feels like we're still kind of with him. Because I said this the other day in an interview that he always used to say to us that, oh, we're going to end up in Vegas, us lot, we'll be old, sitting on the stool singing these tired old songs. And we were like, you know what? I'm kind of good with that. I can see out my days there singing these songs. I'm quite happy to do that. And it feels a shame like we didn't get to do it with him because we had plans. And now I feel like, well, maybe we can maybe this is it. Maybe this is our chance to just, on whatever level, it doesn't have to be arenas and it doesn't have to be Vegas, but no matter where we're playing, at least we can still do it. And it means so much to me. It means so much to Joe and Jay. And it really is, it's really still about him. And we want to keep it always about him. Yeah. But we're just so really, honestly, so grateful and so joyful to just have the opportunity. Honestly, I know I sound like, oh, yeah, but it's true.
But you certainly get the sense watching you guys that, like you've already said, that you don't really want to take the limelight individually. It is very
No.
much, that collective coming together in appreciation of George and the music and the songs. And like you say, these are the kinds of songs that you can perform for your whole life, and you're not going to get bored of them, because it's such,
You're never going to get bored of
such
them.
an amazing
And also, we're seeing
songwriter.
them now in a whole different light, because we're getting, one of them or the other of us is getting to actually sing the lead line. So
Yeah.
it's brought a whole nother element to the joy that we're getting from them. And look, it's of course we can't do it without making some money. That's obviously it's impossible. We can't just go off and not, we've got lives, we have houses, with that, of course.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I'm telling you, we're not making anywhere near what people think. I mean, I've really, this is the other problem with the internet. There's so many mean people out there. It does my head in sometimes. But we've got a Facebook group, and then I read some of the comments, and they're like, because if I say something like it's about him, it's not about us, and then someone will go, oh yeah, but it's about the money. And I'm like, look, we put a show together. It costs a fortune, for one thing, to put a show together. We have to pay musicians. We have to pay crew. So, of course, there's a ticket price that's going to come with that. Yeah. And, to be perfectly honest, when we did the show in Shepherd's Bush, myself, Joe, Jay, and Lucy was with us then. We actually got nothing from that show. But the band, obviously, we have to take care of the band. Yeah. They're not going to do it for nothing. It's our baby, it's our project. So, and they're coming on board to help us, so we can't expect them to do it for nothing. But I don't think people understand the cost of putting on a show is huge. Yeah. I mean, one show is worse than doing. In fact, you're better off doing like 10 shows than you are doing one show.
Yeah,
it's mad. Really, really mad.
I remember just hiring 2 session musicians for myself with my band kind of back in the day. You're paying them 40-50 quid a rehearsal.
Exactly.
So it's like people really don't understand that when you're talking about if you're putting on a proper show like you guys are, paying the whole band, we're not talking about a couple of people here,
It's like 8 people,
yeah,
8 musicians.
So I mean that really adds up. If people think, right, so that times 8, and how many rehearsals are you having? A couple a week, a few a week?
Exactly.
And absolutely skyrockets.
You've got to hire the equipment, you've got to hire the rehearsal studio, you've got to have trucks. There's, I don't tend to get too involved in messages, because you can go down a hole and it's pointless. Then not everybody's going to like you, not everyone's going to understand what you do. You're better off not reading good things or bad things, because they're just as harmful, I think. But sometimes you can't help it. You'll see a message and it's like, I want to respond, because you have a voice, right? You have a voice. I have a voice. So we're here to use it, aren't we? It's not, we could be mute, and what's the point of that? It's something George always taught us. He was very vocal about. He wasn't afraid to say what he felt, and didn't really care what people think. If you like him, you like him, and if you don't like his opinions, then you don't. But I think sometimes, especially in this day and age, everyone's so worried on, you've got social media, you're so worried about what everybody's saying about you. It's like, you can't, if you believe in something, like what you're doing, it's really important that you do it. I mean, a lot of people come up to me and go, oh, I saw this guy did an analyst of your, I think it was really good, and he's really great, he's so knowledgeable. And I'm like, yeah, he is. And it's great that you do it, because there are people out there that it resonates with, but there'll be people that it doesn't. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't really worry about that. You're doing a good thing. I mean, honestly, a lot of people actually come up to me and say that you analysed our BVs on Parkinson. Yeah, there's a lot of people, are invested in your channel, and it's great. Like I said, you have a voice, and it's good to use it.
Yeah, I do see it as an important thing as well. There are other people on the internet who are making statements that seem like they're informed, but they're actually incorrect. I mean, it works both ways, where somebody says, oh, this is an amazing performance, and really accurate and all that kind of stuff. Then I say, well, it's that accurate because it has been pitch corrected, so I'll point that out. But then the other side, people say, oh, I can't believe this person's miming or using auto-tune. And then I say, well, actually no, they're not. And so you know, it's just pointing out exactly what's going on is the most important
exactly.
thing. Certainly, the reviews speak for themselves on the internet as well. Of people really enjoying the show, and
no, they have. They really get it, and it's weird because some of them say, "Oh, we feel like you've got George on tape or something," and I'm like, "Well, that's a massive compliment."
Thank you for talking to me today, this afternoon. I don't want to take up
you.
all of your time.
No, I love it. I love chatting to you. Every time we talk, we're always like, I remember the first time we were going to do a little interview, and we were like, bloody hell, we've been on the phone for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's always a good chat. It's really always interesting. I love chatting to you. It's brilliant.
Well, have a great rest of your day. And
you too, darling.
I will
Thank you.
catch up with you soon. See you later. Bye. So, a huge thank you to Shirley for joining me on the channel. All of the links that you'll need to get tickets for the George Michael Singers shows are in the description below. So, head down there, click on the link, get yourself a ticket for a memorable evening of not only live music, but stories told by the people who were there. And just with the live sound, you'll know it straight away when you hear it that these are the guys that provided the vocals behind George throughout albums and just huge hits. So anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!